Squatting is the granddaddy of all exercises. Unfortunately, many of us can't do that. And when I was working in the rehabilitative market, a lot of times when I was trying to work with patients, squatting was a very difficult thing for them to do. Ultimately, it was because of knee pain. Normally, they just could not squat because their knees didn't allow them to. A lot of times it had to do with just poor mechanics of squatting. The inability to load their hips, the inability to integrate the kinetic chain, and subsequently they would compensate by using the wrong muscles and therefore put more pressure on their knee. Again, you must remember the knee is in the middle with no place to go. If the ankle and the hip are not functioning well, or the muscles of the hip are not controlling things well, the knee is going to end up taking the hit. Let me show you a simple squat progression that you can use with some of your clients that may struggle with knee pain. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start by incorporating a simple reach squat. We're going to apply the band to our hip. Why we apply it to our hip is it's going to teach us how to engage and go into a hip hinge. Very often I will have a person just grab a stick, put it in front, and I'll tell them that as their hips go back, leading with their hips, I want them to push the stick out. And so they start going ahead and working this motion. Now, why do I use a stick? Two reasons. Number one, visually it gives them something to push against. Number two, it gives them an upper body support so they feel stable. Once they can go ahead and do it with the stick, I see if they can do it without the stick by just doing a reach. Now my goal is to get them to go from their hips, reach out as far as they can, and come back. The whole emphasis is to make sure they're loading through their heels and really getting a solid heel compression into the floor. That's going to engage their glutes and allow them to go ahead and effectively stabilize without putting tremendous pressure on their knees. Now, you're not going to be able to go deep all the time, so you may have to work at doing higher reaches. Sometimes I'll stand in front of my clients and I'll have them reach to my hands and touch my hands. I can put my hands high and low so that they have to reach to them. All I want them to do is focus on reaching, getting out and touching my hands. That will force them to push their hips back, and the band will just naturally take them back there. But the cool thing is when they come out of it, they have to resist and actively contract against the band to set their glutes. So that's how I'll start them with squatting. Once they've got it down with the reach and they're doing well, I'll eliminate the reach and just have them go ahead and do squats without the upper body driver. If they can do that, I now know I can get them into a squat with their arms high, arms behind, arms overhead. So I've eliminated the need for them to have to use their upper body to drive the movement. That then allows me some unique capabilities to go ahead. Because my hands are free, I can go ahead and add resistance. So I could put dumbbells in my hand. I could do a kettlebell squat. Any of that is possible. What I like to do is I like to bring in that next band. And what I will do is I will go ahead and load it and put it into the rack position if it's tolerable. Now what I'm going to do is I've taught them how to keep squat with their elbows high. Now I've just added the resistance and I get a resisted front squat with the hip band to really help in encouraging hip hinging while I'm squatting. It's a tremendous exercise, and it's actually a very fun exercise to do with a lot of your athletes that don't want to hinge. We will very often do partner vertical squats with a horizontal vector, which is a lot of fun to do. You can do it in partner shape. So that's how we'll go ahead and get them to start learning how to squat. A little side note, if you have people that do not do well with regards to maintaining good knee position, applying the dynamic stabilizer above their knees and having them now do a reach squat, but now they have to press out against the band, will help them engage their glutes even more effectively. So bringing in the dynamic stabilizer as a frontal plane vector so that they have to learn how to stabilize against that vector is going to be a very effective way also to get them squatting. So there you go. Get your people squatting. It's the granddaddy of all exercises. They must be able to do it. If they can't do it, they're going to very much struggle with the ability to function in life.